how to create and use custom signals. Alright everyone, today we're going to talk about how we can create custom signals, provide arguments, connect them properly in code, as well as make them appear in the node tab with all of our other signals, and we'll go over how to connect them to an instanced scene such as this one here, where it has no script, however its child does, and maybe we want to connect to that. Alright, so we're going to start at the beginning. Line edit is going to be holding our signal here. Main is going to work as our basic connection, and our node 2D here with a sprite as a child is going to work as our I don't really want to call it advanced because it's not super different, but we'll see. Line edit, so we're going to go into that and we'll see. Basically all I have here is a ready function, and all the scripts on these are all blank, just so you know. Just close that. Alright, so what we're going to do is I'm going to set this up so that when we press the J key, that is when things are going to happen. So I'm just going to go to my line edit, go to the node tab, select text changed. I'm going to connect it to itself, and I'm just going to say if new text, square brackets, and -1. This is going to return the last character that was typed in. I'm going to say if that is the J key, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to print the J key was pressed last, or just pressed. Let's go with that, even though it doesn't really matter or have much of an effect here. But we're going to go ahead and go like that, and I have two ifs in there, so let's fix that. So now if I go ahead and run this, we can see I come in, I can hit all these keys, nothing happens, but as soon as I hit the J key, we see it pops up here in the output, and it'll keep happening every time I hit J. Alright, so that signal works. That's how the basic signals here function for us. Alright, and it works exactly the same if we were to come in here into our ready function and connect it manually. Alright, so we come in and we can go text changed dot connect and pass in the callable, which is just a fancy way of saying the name of the function on text change. Now if we wanted to get very specific, we could say self text change dot connect, and the function would be the callable would be self dot on text change. So this self here is whoever has the signal, and then the signal, our connect function, who holds the function we're connecting it to, and then the function that we want to be called when the signal is emitted. All right, so both of these work in order to connect to this, and I can show you if I go ahead and just disconnect it from the UI and run this, and you can see it still works. Press everything, nothing happens, hit J, and it gets printed out. All right, so those are the two ways that we would connect a signal typically, right? Either UI or through code, whatever is best for your situation and how you want to go about it personally. Okay, so how would we do this with a custom signal? Well, first off, how do we create a signal? Well, we create a signal simply by just like creating a variable or a const or an enum. We start by declaring this, what we want, as a signal, and you'll see the text change red unless you change your colors. We'll put a space, and then we can put in the name of the signal. So I'm just going to say my signal, and if you notice on the right hand side, immediately it was added in to the node tab with all of our other signals. So we can come in here and we could double click this. There we go. And we can go ahead and connect this, and we'll see our function gets created, void because we have no return, and we have no arguments, but we can come in here and we can go ahead and print, right? And we can go ahead and print out something like I don't know, custom signal received, right? Something like that. So you might come in, you go in, you start playing around, and you'll notice, hey, nothing happens, this never gets printed out. Why? Well, that's because behind the scenes, what's actually happening when things like on text change, for example, happens, the signal for this is actually being emitted out from the object, and that's what we're connecting here. We're connecting the signal. We have what is connected to, but nothing is ever being sent out. Nothing is being emitted. So what I'm going to do is, instead of printing this, whenever our last character is J, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my signal and I'm going to do dot emit. That's a function. Okay, just wanted to make sure I wasn't crazy there. So we're just going to do that, and that's going to send out our signal and broadcast it out to whoever's listening for it. In our case, we are listening to ourselves to catch that signal so we can print this out. So we can go ahead, type all this stuff, nothing happens, and then as soon as I hit that J key here, our signal is going to be emitted, and this function will trigger printing out custom signal received. Here we go. Boom. I hit J, and there it is. I can hit it again, and we see it printed out every time. Now, just like previously, we can connect this through code if we would like. So again, we got self dot, or the object that has the signal, which is our self, dot the name of the signal, then connect, the name of who we're connecting to, and then the function we're connecting to. So if I come in here and I disconnect this, we can see with this, we're still connecting it manually, just like we did with the built-in text change signal. Print it every time we hit the J key. Right, so our custom signals work exactly the same as our default ones in terms of connecting it. The only differences so far is we have to actually call emit whenever we want to send out the signal or we want to broadcast it. Now, what about these arguments? If I open this up, here we go, we can see text rejected has an argument, text changed has an argument, text submitted has an argument, GUI input has one, minimum size does not. Down here near the bottom, child entered, exit, description changed, replaced by, these all have arguments. So how can we give our signal arguments? Well, when we're creating our signal, all we have to do is do our pair of parentheses, and then we can just pass in an argument. So you notice as I type here, you're going to see it appear here in the node tab. I've got it selected here with the green. Now I want to see if I can remember this right. If I hit this button, there we go. So that's going to enlarge it. So you can see here, we have it by default. And I'm going to go ahead and just select in there, leave this over here to magnify. And you'll see as I type, or say message, and as you see, it's automatically cast as a variant, which means it can take an argument of any type. Now, because I'm me, I like to statically type things. So I'm going to go ahead and statically type this and say it has to be a string that gets passed in. And you can see that in our magnified section there, that has automatically filled in as an argument. So now our function down here doesn't exactly work. Right? Ubisoft, what are you doing? Who chose to open you? Okay, now that Mr. I Want Attention You Play has gone away, let's go ahead and continue. So where were we? Right, so we pass in an argument right up here, declared as a string. It appears in our node history. And if we were to go ahead and create or connect this signal, if it wants to, Godot 4 wants to cooperate with us, right, I can go ahead and click. We'll just create a second one here and I connect it, and you'll see the argument is automatically passed in here for us. Now, for us, since we already had this pre-existing, we're actually going to have to fill this in ourselves. So if you are typing it out and connecting manually, remember to type in your argument. I'm just going to go ahead and delete that one. I just want to use that to show you that it will automatically put that in if you connect with the UI like that. So now that we have that, when we emit, we can emit and pass in our argument. Right? So if I just print MSG here, I can now emit and pass in the message argument of whatever I want. Let's say, here is my message. Now, whenever I hit J, whenever the last character I hit is J, it's going to emit our signal. It's going to pass in this argument. Our function is going to hear it. It's going to be passed in as our first argument here as MSG, and we're going to print that out. All right. So we hit all these keys, nothing happens. We hit J, boom. There it is. There's our message. Now, what if we want to connect this to, say, our main here, which has nothing in it? I'm going to go ahead and just pass that in. Same name, just to keep things simple or easier to understand. So when I come in, we're going to do a similar thing that we had here. So the difference is we got self, right? Because we have the signal. We have my signal that we want to send out. We're going to connect it. Now here it is not self. Here it is get parent in this case, right? Because we want to go from line edit and go up the tree once to main. So that'll be one get parent. And then our function, we have it the same name. So we can just leave it like that. So this would be the same name here. And here we'll go ahead and we'll even print it with a tab and pass in the number 2 as well. So now when we go ahead and type it, we see nothing. We hit J, boom. And there's our second one from main. Here's my message and 2. Right, so we can connect it this way. Again, either through the UI, just double clicking and connect, or through code like this. Now, what if we want to connect to the child here of the node 2D, right? Because maybe this is our UI scene and we want to connect it to something inside of it, one of its children. Well, you might come up here and you might like to connect to UI. You look at it, double click to connect, and well, that's grayed out because it doesn't have a script. But we want to get to a child that's on it. So what we would have to do is right click and do editable children. And you'll see the child shows up as yellow here. I'm going to go to my line edit, go to connect my signal, and you can see now we have access to it to connect. And you'll see if I come in here and we print message, and again, I'll do it with the tab, so print with 2 T's. We'll do 3, so remember that. And if we go ahead and run this, we can type, all fine. I hit J, and you can see all 3 signals here are appearing. Now, what if we right click our node 2D and we no longer have editable children? Well, we see disabling editable children will cause all properties of the node to be reverted to their default. Okay, that's fine. We did not change any properties for that. So let's try it again. Let's see if it remains. J, and we can see the 3 is here. So you can make it an editable child if you want to connect it through UI. And then you can turn editable children off if that's what you'd like. Now, what if you don't want to use the UI? Well, here's what we're going to need to do. Right, we can take almost what we have here, right? Because we're still gonna, the signal is on ourselves, passing out my signal, connect, and here's where our difference is, because we're using get parent to go up 1, that'll get us to main, but now we have to get child, index 0 and 1, so we got to get child from index 1, get child, index 1. Right, that gets us to the node 2D, but remember we can't connect to that, it doesn't have a signal. We want to get to the sprite 2D here, so that's 1 child in, child index 0. So from here, we can then go in, get child 0 dot, and the function that we want to connect to. Right, which in this case on my signal should be the same thing here. No, in this case it is not. It's on line edit my signal, so I need to copy that over and replace that there. And just like that, it'll work. Just as it did previously. So this is connecting properly. We should see our message of here's my message and a 3. And there it is. We can see it down there. Now this is a little crazy when we're getting a little nutty like this. So I'm going to go ahead and take that and just store that as a variable. Sprite 2D, boom, boom. Now I can just say Sprite, and that's a lot cleaner to look at by doing it this way. Now, of course, you could type it out if you so choose. So you could do boom, right, $, pair of quotes, and do dot, which would be self. So you want to do 2 dots for get parent, so we can go up. This will take us to main slash our node 2D slash our sprite 2D. Yeah, still using a default name there. So we can do it like this if we wanted to make it a little cleaner and easier to read this way as well. As you'll see, nothing. We hit J, and there it is, all printed out. Now, out of curiosity, what is this? Sprite is declared but never used. Yeah, that's why. That's not a problem. It's just yelling at me because I removed it from here and used the path instead. But that's it. So we can easily use custom signals just like the built-in ones, and that is how you can create it. That is how we can create one with and without an argument. Alright, hopefully that makes that clear for any newer programmers out there that maybe don't know how to use signals, or maybe they're just getting introduced to signals, or they've never used a custom one before or had a need for one. There you go. If that's confusing in any way, feel free to ask questions. And with that, I'll see you guys next week.